Hello, beautiful Pisces. These are going to be your messages for the next little while. And although they are being released in the month of July, they tend to be non-date specific lately. That's how my messages seem to flow lately. So bear in mind that although this is being talked about in the month of July, these messages may resonate with you in July, August, or September, or they may have started to resonate with you in the month of June or even May. As a matter of fact, I'm being flagged here, and for some of you, I get a thumbs up on the month of August. So some of these messages may make total sense to you as a surprise in the month of August, either beginning or end in the month of August. So we are in July. So if it's not July, the month of August sounds like some of you will make sense of this. Just like with the other signs, I'm getting new information that's coming through, and for me this month, and it is, I seem to be getting crystal information or information about healing stones, and you're no different. What I got for you was black onyx. Just by having a brief knowledge of onyx, what black onyx is, it is a very grounding stone. And when I looked at it very briefly, it says here that it is a soothing quality stone that will remove fear and release worries inside of your mind and make you feel comfortable in your current state, which is quite interesting because when I was connecting with your energy, what I saw was the sign of a scale, and it told me right away that the next couple of months, at least the next couple of months, is going to be spent by you, or it would be wise for you to spend majority of your time on making sure that you remain as balanced as you possibly can, which means you may have been, or you may be going through some challenges, not necessarily difficulties, but challenges. Sometimes good things can be challenging, and that may make you feel slightly off kilter or slightly off balance. And for some of you, if you have been getting frequent headaches, chances are it is because emotionally speaking, you are not feeling balanced right now. So the scales symbol with the stone of black onyx, it kind of goes hand in hand. And so I would invite you to read on your own what black onyx means. And if you are guided to it, get yourself one. They're fairly inexpensive, and carry one with you where you can feel it on your skin. So particularly if you are going through any sort of transition, which we all are on some level, if you're going through any kind of move, if you're going through any kind of challenges, any kind of, things that may make you feel slightly off balance, I feel you are being it's being suggested that this stone may offer a lot of grounding qualities and properties for you so that you can move through your transition a little bit smoother. An animal was also shown to me for you, and I thought it was quite spectacular because I have never, as long as I've been doing this work, which has been for quite a few years, I don't think I've ever had a snow leopard come through as an animal totem. So naturally, I went to look it up, and obviously it's a beautiful animal. And there's a lot of meanings around snow leopards, so I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to invite you to do that on your own. But there's something very mystical about snow leopard. It is a cat family, which means it is, well, mysterious is one, but it's also very solid and stable. I have a feeling that this animal is being shown to you as a protective symbol in order to help you manage your emotions as you're going through your life, whatever situation it may be. Whether it is a job change, whether it is a circumstance change, whether it is a move of a house or move of career, whatever challenge, and again, doesn't have to be anything bad, but I know quite a few Pisces, and you have been going through a lot lately, some of you for quite a few years, some of you for a few months. So there's no shortage of challenging times in our lives. And you're not the only sign. I mean, everyone has challenges, particularly as we are moving through to these higher frequencies. A lot of things will come up to the surface in order to be addressed. And that can pose some challenges for us to take care of. So look up snow leopard. I just find it fascinating because it's such a beautiful, beautiful animal. And I do feel that it's on an endangered list, an endangered species list, if I'm not mistaken. They're quite spectacular in black and white. So even the colors there's an indicator around color, black and white. It's the opposites, but mystery is really what I get. What I also feel is that this animal represents a lot of unique qualities, but one of the things that's coming through is a quality of being very in tune with divinity, or your source, your spiritual source. Let's go it that way. So many of you may be quite intuitive, quite psychic. I mean, yes, we're all psychic. We all have intuition. We're all equipped with it. But many of you have this ability heightened, and I feel this animal is going to act as a protective barrier, so to speak. Oftentimes when we are intuitively gifted, or when we are psychically very open, we tend to pick up a lot of other people's garbage or negativity. And oftentimes we don't even know that it's not ours. And sooner or later it comes out in various ways. Some of you may have, if you're highly sensitive, you may exhibit an anxiety that may lead to panic attacks. Some of you may have frequent headaches, and a lot of this is absorption of energy that isn't necessarily yours. So the black onyx is obviously a very grounding stone that will also help and protect your energy field. So look at those two symbols because they're very important. That will kind of give you messages. You'll get more messages just by looking at that symbology. What else did I want to? Oh, beaver. Beaver was another thing another animal that came through. So you're getting a whole bunch of symbols today. Now, when I tune into the beaver quality, it's a very hardworking animal. Obviously, beavers are very hardworking. They're very skilled with building dams using their teeth. So what it tells me here is that many of you, probably most of you, are very hard working. You work very hard. What I want to say here is sometimes working very hard means you go overboard, and that alone can put you in a state where you become out of balance. The beaver also to me suggests that this is a time where you might be facing a lot of hard work, whether it's physical hard work, whether it's emotional hard work, whether it's mental hard work, spiritual hard work on whatever level. And again, the idea of balance is being shown to me to make sure that whatever work you are being faced with, whatever challenge you're being faced with, whatever situation you are being faced with, and again, it doesn't have to be anything bad. You may be building a house, and that's a fantastic thing. But you know, when it comes with something like building a house, you may devote all your energy, particularly if you're working on top of that. And at the end of the day, you might be absolutely exhausted. So it is imperative that you take some time, even if it's just short little bits of time throughout the day, to keep yourself hydrated, to keep yourself motivated, to keep yourself balanced. At the end of the day, if we are not solid within ourselves on an ongoing basis, I mean, we may have moments here and there, but if we're not solid, then at the end of the day, we're just running around like chickens with no heads, and life starts to lose its meaning. We start to feel drained, we start to feel tired, we start to lose focus, and it just becomes, well, unbalanced. So I don't want to harp on it too much. I think you've already got the idea what I'm trying to say here. Balance is key. I just heard someone say, well, I don't have time. I will say this to you. If you are so busy with everything that you've got, that you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, then you really need to reassess your priorities. And that's not going to be for all of you. It's going to be for some of you. Because I know, including myself, especially in the past, I would say, oh, I don't have time to meditate. It's not that I didn't have time. It's that I tried to avoid it because I wasn't good at it. I was getting frustrated with it. So rather than saying I don't know how to do it, or I feel like I'm failing at it, I would tell myself I don't have time. So if you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, if you do not have time to take care of you, then you need to really, really reassess your priorities and really be honest with yourself. Okay, let's go through some of the cards. Interestingly enough, the first message you get is from a lion. So lion is the alchemical symbol of fire. It's your spirit. The way I perceive this lion, it is, first of all, lion is strength. We know that. So what this is saying here is that aside from you having strength, which you may not know, it is about you maintaining your strength over the next few months. Your physical strength, your emotional strength, your spiritual strength, your mental strength. And it is about facing whatever is bothering you rather than trying to turn away from it. Sometimes it works when something is bothering us and we don't want to face it, we kind of turn away from it. But at the end of the day, turning away from something that is uncomfortable is not a good way of getting rid of it. Number one, you will not be able to get rid of it. You will temporarily just put it aside. The funny thing is that it eventually comes up right back in your face and says, hey, here I am. What do you want to do with me? And it takes courage to face things we don't want to face, whatever it may be for you. You may be facing a situation in your marriage, for example, and you may try not to deal with it because dealing with it means to you perhaps that now you have to do something about it, and that may be difficult. It could be having a situation where your boss is constantly riding on your tails and it's being an SOB to you, and rather than facing your boss, it's uncomfortable, you kind of brush it aside and you try not to think about it. But the reality is, whenever we are presented with something that's uncomfortable, generally it's because it's something we are needing to face. So whatever you are facing right now or will be facing, again, doesn't have to be anything bad. It could be like just the examples I showed. I said, like the situation with work. It is important to deal with it coming from a place of strength. And I'm hearing here, what does that mean? Tell them what that means. It means that in order to deal with something effectively, you first recognize, you first have to recognize what the real problem is. For example, let's use the analogy of a boss being an SOB to you. Let's say he's being an SOB and you don't want to face it. The reality is that if you were really truly to ask yourself, why do I not want to face my boss? You will probably come to the realization that you're afraid. You're afraid to stand up for yourself. And if you're afraid to stand up for yourself with your boss, chances are you're also afraid to stand up for yourself in many other aspects of your life. So pushing it away is only temporarily pushing something away that will inevitably come and bite you in the ass. So recognizing what the problem is per se is critical in order for you to effectively deal with whatever is in front of you. And I'm hoping this is going to make sense to you. Again, if this doesn't make sense to you when you hear it in July, it's going to make sense to you down the road. So maintaining your strength, maintaining your balance, maintaining your agility, which means being flexible, are huge components over the next few months. Now, because this is a fire element, I want to say that for a lot of you, this is going to be around career and around relationship or love. You will have to face something head on while maintaining your strength. when I look at this card and I tune into the energy, this lion is looking, and he's not preoccupied with little piddly things that don't matter. He is not pulled away by things that really don't mean much at the end of the day. So the message here with this card is, make sure you focus on what is truly important to you so that you're not scattered and all over the place, whether it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what have you. And that's, again, the scale that was shown to me earlier. It is about maintaining your balance. One of the ways of maintaining your balance is to make sure you have your priorities straight. And in order to have your priorities straight, to adhere to what your priorities are, you first have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself what is important to you. So that's the first message I have for you. Pretty spectacular. I'm still so enamored by the snow leopard. It's freaking beautiful. The next card you have, surprise, surprise, is breathe. So all these messages are fantastic. All that this is saying to me is, spend time as much as you can with whatever you've got going on to maintain your level-headedness, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through taking time for yourself. And for those of you who say, I don't have time, again, you gotta look at your priorities. Whatever you can do to be still, even if it's just for 10 minutes a day, taking time out, closing your door, shutting your cell phone off, getting out of looking at your computer and just tuning in order to not focus out, but focus within and breathe, connect to your breathing. Very, very, very important. So I'm asking kind of in the background, why are we talking about this? Like, what's going on here? And I feel it is because many of you are sitting on some sort of a decision. It is not, what do I mean by this? It means that there is a decision that is pending, whether it is something that has been with you for quite some time, or something that is going to come forth, or it's going to transpire, something's going to be visible to you. No, I feel for many of you, this is a decision that has been kind of sitting there waiting to be dealt with, and it's been there for a while. So I don't feel for most of you that this is anything new. I feel this is something that you have been contemplating on for quite some time. And although I don't feel necessarily that the decision will be made right now, and by the way, you have Two of Wands in reverse, so there's absolutely a change of path. But because it's shown to me in reverse, it is telling me that you may not know what to choose or where to go yet, or you may not know what to decide or how to go about deciding. And I feel that the next couple of months at least is time to gather your strength, so that when the time comes to make your choice or decision, you will make it from a space of strength and stability versus from a space of unknowingness and anxiety. The Judgment card in reverse signifies to me that there is some sort of a decision that's coming to an end, or some sort of a situation, I should say, that's coming to an end. But because it's shown to me in reverse, I feel you are not ready yet to make it a final thing. And I do feel for many of you, this is around relationships. For other of you, this is around career. The Sweat Lodge is another message that you have. So the Sweat Lodge is, and it's coming up in reverse. The Sweat Lodge message is about working out your emotional baggage. Because it's showing to me in reverse, I feel there may be tendency for some of you to avoid looking at things that are needing to be faced. And perhaps because if you face it, or if you acknowledge it, then somehow it means that now you have to do something about it. It isn't necessarily so. Sometimes admitting the truth just allows the energy to kind of push through and allow you to make choices and decisions later, but then you are no longer in denial. So I'm not saying that many of you are in denial, but there will be some of you that perhaps are in denial of a situation that is needing to come to conclusion, and but you're trying to avoid making the choice or making the next step. So what is the message that I want to give you with this sweat lodge? Don't be afraid of your feelings. And why would someone be afraid of their feelings? Well, for various reasons. One of the things that comes up right now is sometimes we're afraid of our feelings because our feelings tell us what our truth is. And sometimes our truth is hard to hear. It's not that it's hard to hear, it's hard to acknowledge, because it may be contradictory to everything that's in front of you. And therefore admitting your truth means something has to change. But you, like everybody else, as we're going through these beautiful transitional times, are also on a road of discovery. And some of those discoveries include you being more honest with yourself so that you can start and create a life that is much more meaningful to you, in a way that is more aligned with who you truly are, not who you are trying to be in order to be liked, to be accepted, to be loved, to be whatever the things that we do in order to make us feel good. Is there anything else that I want to give to you? What are we at? 21 minutes. Common ground is a message that came through. And it's actually interesting because it kind of came out in reverse. And I don't look at these cards in reverse, but for some reason, I do want to address it in reverse. And what I'm getting is that whatever it is that you are facing, chances are that you're no longer on the same page, whether it is with your partner, whether it is with your job, whether it is with a certain particular situation, whether it is with a friend, whether it is with an association, whether it is with a belief system. And it is important that whatever you commit yourself to, that you are at least somewhat on the same page, that you're somewhat on the same ground, on a common ground, because if you're not, you're working in opposite ends. So I have a feeling for many of you, whatever this change is being symbolized by the Two of Wands, whatever, and that's either love or work, career, whatever this change is being talked about, it is because you are no longer on the same page with whatever the situation is. And don't be afraid to admit this truth to you. You know the saying, truth will set you free. It is not easy sometimes to admit what the truth is, but denial is much harder to digest because, well, for one, we can only lie to ourselves for so long. Eventually it comes out. It comes out as an anxiety. It comes out as depression. It comes out as panic attacks. It comes out as not having zest for life. We basically become, it's like a flame that becomes subdued. So whatever your deal is, whatever your challenge is, whatever your situation is, do yourself a favor and always be true to you. Always be honest with yourself. It doesn't mean you have to jump and do anything about it right now, but chances are many of you are standing in front of a decision, and you've probably been standing in front of this decision for quite some time. And again, August is being indicated here. So for some of you, this is going to make sense in August, but I'm pretty sure majority of you are going to understand what this means when you hear it. And I want to leave this with you. And as I'm saying these words, I hear tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. And this is an indication that for many of you, it's time, whether it's time to own what's happening, whether it's time to admit what's happening, whether it's time to make that choice or make that move, or whether it's time to just say, you know what, we're no longer on the same page. And I don't know what I'm going to do about it yet, but that much I know, we're no longer on the same page. Don't be afraid of your feelings. Don't be afraid of your emotions. Truth will always set you free. And with that said, I want to leave this with you. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I wish you best of luck. There's nothing bad happening here. This is all phenomenal. This is all you moving towards more inner peace and more sense of freedom, which is a feeling. It's a state of mind. So whatever it is that you're going to transition out of and then transition into something new, know that you can do this. Know that the universe will support you as long as you step out of the way and let, I'm going to say, spirit lead you. And it sounds like many of you are connected to your sense of spirituality. And many of you are probably very, very psychic and very in tune. So you know exactly what to do. It's just a matter of time. And with that said, thank you so much once again. If you would like a private session with me to help you figure out your individual situation, that information is down below in the more info section. Again, I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.